What's going on, Gunners? Welcome to the Gooners Voice, the voice of Arsenal Football Club. Today we're talking transfers, very important day. Outgoings, incomings, what Arsenal need next season, and most importantly, the style of Arsenal moving forward. So let's get straight into it. On the outgoings front, got a news coming out yesterday about Leandro Trossard, two Premier League clubs inquiring about Trossard, which kind of makes sense. And reason for it, Trossard obviously signed a new contract. I say new contract, not a contract extension, at the beginning of the season or a little bit later into the season, and that was an increase on wages. So it'd be very difficult for the smaller clubs in like La Liga, maybe even Italy, places like that to stump up the wages that Leandro Trossard's currently on. I'd be sad for Trossard to go, but does seem like his time at Arsenal's come to an end, and we'll get into that a little bit later when we speak about incomings, what Arsenal need. But yeah, Leandro Trossard, I think, would be a good signing for clubs like Sunderland, Bournemouth, that really are attacking the market for a bigger squad in general. They're obviously playing in Europe, Europa League football. The two of them next season. Don't see going back to Brighton. I don't think that would be one. But I think it really fit in well at a group like Sunderland in general. Got a lot of experience and he's a very experienced player. So yeah, one to watch, Leandro Trossard in this transfer window. The other outgoings, and these are more certain outgoings for me, and you may not agree with them, but yeah, that's why we're here. Yeah? Opinions. Number one is Gabriel Martinelli. I think his time at Arsenal has definitely come up. You know, it's done. He's had a great career at Arsenal. He's been a great servant, stunning player on his day, but it just hasn't worked out for him this season, and it's kind of sad. You know, the goals and contributions looks good on paper, but when you think about one goal in the Premier League for the whole season, it's just not good enough. Just not good enough. We need the output that Bukayo Saka gives us on the right hand side, on the left hand side, and unfortunately, Martinelli, no Trossard are just those players. And we've seen that with Arteta this season. He struggled to really find someone he trusts at left wing. We've seen Martinelli there. We've seen Trossard there. We've seen Eze there. We've seen Madueke there. We've seen Saka there at times. So yeah, it's just not working out. And I think that is the most important position for Arsenal in this transfer market. And maybe another that we'll speak about soon. But yeah, I think Gabriel Martinelli definitely leave. And I wonder what sort of funds Arsenal could recuperate for someone like Martinelli. Bear in mind, we only paid £9 million for Martinelli from Ituano in 2019, I think it was. Could be a little bit earlier, but I'm almost certain it was 2019. And he's been a really great servant for the club. But I think Arsenal could make some really good profit. I honestly think Martinelli could be our biggest ever sale for Arsenal. I think they could demand a really good fee. Depends on the World Cup he has as well. He could go out there and have an amazing World Cup, but I just don't see how he stays at Arsenal. I think he's one that definitely has to leave. And it would be sad, but I think Arsenal could easily command, 50, 60 million pounds for someone like Martinelli. He's really young. He's got great Premier League experience. He's a Premier League winner. He's a Brazilian international. So they shouldn't be skimpy. They shouldn't be they shouldn't be lowballing when it comes to Martinelli. I think they should really go in for it. The second one is his Brazilian counterpart, apologies, his Brazilian colleague, very good friend of his, Gabriel Jesus. Definitely one. I actually felt this in January. I thought they were going to let him go in January because he came back into the team after his injury and he played really well. I think it was at Inter Milan. He came in over Victor Gyökeres. And I think the Premier League game thereafter as well, he played really well. I think he scored a couple of goals. And then from there, he just never played again. And I think Arsenal were trying to save him for this transfer window. They didn't want any injuries. They wanted him fit so that they could command the best fee. And we're hearing, they're looking between 15 to 20 million pounds for someone like Gabriel Jesus. And the thing that's interesting with Jesus, it's not so much the transfer fee, but it is the wages. He is one of the biggest earners at Arsenal. So getting him off the books just frees up so much space for Arsenal. The same said for Trossard. So yeah, really, really sad to see them go. But Arsenal's come to that level now, that next level, that next level push, where there are going to be outgoings that we're not going to agree with, and it is what it is. It's what the club needs, and no one knows what the club needs more than Andrea Berta and Mikel Arteta and the hierarchy there. So, yeah, another name to look out for is Ethan Ranieri. I think his time has come up at Arsenal as well. I don't think he's at the level we thought he was when he broke through. It just stagnated for him a little bit, and I think it would be great for him to move on and really kick on, find some first team football. Hasn't worked out by Marseille. Not his fault, not Arsenal's fault, not even Marseille's fault, to be fair. De Zerbi signed him, was De Zerbi signing, and then shortly after he leaves. He quits like De Zerbi does in De Zerbi fashion, and just doesn't work out for him at Marseille, which is a bit unlucky for Arsenal. I think it could have been a positive two-way street. The Marseille loan, it could have been a really good loan, and Noneri comes back and he's fitted back into the first team or the squad, or it's a really good loan and Arsenal get a very commanding fee for someone like Noneri, which just hasn't worked out. So thoroughly expect to see not that like this would be Noneri's last season at Arsenal. At least he leaves with a Premier League medal, and I think he did play enough minutes to garner that medal. To be fair, so yeah, in outgoings, I think would be very surprising if it's not Trossard, Martinelli, Jesus, Noneri. And then a surprise one, and I think this is because of the links, is someone like Martin Odegaard. I actually think it could be a season where we see Odegaard leaving. It could be 50-50. I think the end of next season would suit Odegaard more. I think now, if Arsenal were to let him go, would suit Arsenal more because he's still got 2 years on his contract. They could command a good fee for him. But I just don't think Odegaard's one of the first names on the team sheet anymore, and I don't think you want that from your captain, and I don't think the captain would want that as well. I think we all know that somewhere down the line in the near future, Declan Rice will be the captain of Arsenal. It's just a matter of time, and it's just about asking when. But I wouldn't agree with it because we love Odegaard, and like I said earlier, there are going to be outgoings and decisions that are made that we probably won't agree with, but we shouldn't get sentimental now. When Arteta does something, when the hierarchy does something, it's usually for the best and for the better of Arsenal, and we've seen that work out wonders in the past. So it could be just the best for both parties in Odegaard and Arsenal that he leaves this season. And the reason why I'm saying, and might come to you as a surprise, you probably think, no, not Odegaard. It's the links. That's the links. I look at who we linked with, and we're going to incomings now. We linked with Morgan Rogers, who maintains that his best position is the number 10 position. So I don't see a world where Arsenal have got Odegaard, Eze, and Morgan Rogers. So I definitely think it's a tough one because if you think about it, you're letting Trossard and Martinelli go. You don't have a left winger. Maybe that's why you're bringing Morgan Rogers in, because he can cover multiple positions. He's played off the left for Aston Villa. He's not the left winger Arsenal need, by all means. He's not the left winger I would want. But maybe they're looking at it thinking, he can cover multiple positions. He's a very Arteta-esque player if you think about it, in the mold of like a Tomiyasu, in the mold of Ben White, of Jurian Timber, people that can play multiple positions. And I think maybe that's why they're looking at him. Maybe I'm just looking at it wrong. They could be thinking, okay, let's get Rogers in because he can cover left wing, and maybe he's not the marquee left wing signing. I honestly don't think he is. And if you're keeping Eze and Odegaard, I don't see him playing over them at this moment in time. You know, but I stand to be corrected. So I think maybe Arsenal are looking at it that way. Maybe they're keeping Odegaard and Eze, obviously keeping Eze, but bringing Rodgers in to cover multiple positions and maybe cover that left hand side with the marquee left wing signing. And the links for the left wing has been interesting. There haven't been that many besides Bradley Barcola, who I would take in a heartbeat. To be fair, he is my pick. I would love Barcola at Arsenal. I think Arsenal would be an easy sell for someone like Bradley Barcola. He's obviously got his pick of clubs if he does decide to leave PSG. I know Liverpool are interested as well, and it looks like they'll be even more interested because it feels like Diamande is going to end up at PSG. And I think if he does end up at PSG, Barcola just, it's a given that he leaves for sure. So I think that's an easy sell for Arsenal. I think they're going to someone like Bradley Barcola and say, you're going to start 60 to 80% of our games, not even 60, probably 80% of our games. You are going to be our left wing. You're going to be Kvaratskhelia at Arsenal. You will play every game. You're going to be that important. We need you. We need you to make that left flank your own. We need a world class superstar. We think you can become that. It's not that yet, but he can become that. And he's obviously tired of waiting on the bench. And it's a tough one because he's a really good player, but at the same time, he's probably got the best winger in the world at the moment on that left hand side at PSG in Kvaratskhelia. So, yeah, I think that is my dream signing this transfer window. I think Arsenal will be looking for sure at two left wingers because I just have a feeling Trossard and Martinelli will both leave the club, and then you don't have a left winger at all. So yeah, I think you need a marquee left winger, someone that really stands out, commands authority, makes noise in the transfer market. Arsenal are going to do the business, and I think Barcola is one of them. I'm not sure about any other names, any other shouts. I think anything else is quite unrealistic. I don't see Rafael Leao ever coming to Arsenal. He's not an Arteta player. He's not going to do the yards that Arteta would like, where I think Bradley Barcola would, because he comes from an Enrique team that really work hard. As beautiful as they are on the eye, they do the hard yards. So I'd be really surprised if we don't see Barcola in an Arsenal shirt next season, to be fair. And I think Arsenal obviously go for another right back because the right back's been a bit of an issue with Timber and White, the injury issues they have there. Is it Ben White's last season an Arsenal player? I hope not. I think you could revert Ben White to a centre back. That might ease the load on his legs, on the injuries, less running. He does a lot of running on the right hand flank. And to be fair, Arsenal's Arsenal's wing backs in general do a lot of running, and that's why most of the injuries are at wing back. You think about it, Calafiori's been on and off this season. Nkapie has had his injury troubles, but he's been a little bit more consistent than the rest. Ben White's had injury troubles, Churi Timber. So I think definitely need a right back. I think left back's covered. I think Arsenal will sign Nkapie. That's already done, in my opinion. Will obviously be Arsenal's first signing of the summer. And what a signing he's been, to be fair. He's been a mainstay in that back line. Uh, Midfield wise, I think Arsenal could save some money in midfield. I think they would have gone out and spent big money on midfield, but the emergence of Miles Lewis Skelly has obviously turned that around. I think it's changed their mind because Miles has been immense, and I don't want anyone turning their noses up at Zubimendi because he was one of the most important players for Arsenal in winning this Premier League. He was outstanding for 3/4 of the Premier League. And it's his first season in the Premier League. People forget that. It's his first season playing the amount of games he's played, and he'll only get better next season. So definitely not over for Martin Zubimendi. He's classy, classy player. And I think we'll see a little bit more from Zubimendi next season because I think the style will change. I think Arteta will be looking at that PSG team as the model. That is where Arsenal need to get to. You can control games by having the ball. You can control games by being creative, by being easy on the eye. You don't have to play pragmatic football. Yes, against PSG, that was the only way we could have gone toe to toe with them. Because if we started playing football, they would have out-footballed Arsenal. They would have out-footballed any team at this moment in time. They are the best team in the world currently. So yeah, I think the style of play will change, and that will be down to the signings. But it's looking good for Arsenal. I think they've got a really good foundation to build on. And I think of what next season could be like with so many clubs in transition. And Arsenal should be targeting another Premier League title easily. They should be looking at it and thinking, we are the most consistent. We are the most stable at the moment. We should be kicking on. We should win another. Having said that, Liverpool would have thought the same thing last season or this season. They just passed. They spent $500 million and ended up fifth. So the recruitment, they need to get the recruitment correct, and they have for these last few seasons. So kudos to the Arsenal team. But yeah, I think that's it for today. And interesting to hear, who would you like at Arsenal? Doesn't have to be realistic. Could be your dream signing. But for me, I think this season in general, for the season coming up, we need two left wingers, and we need a statement signing at left wing. I think uh, a world beater at left wing, someone that can give the same output that Saka does on the right hand side. So yeah, interesting, and I'm really looking forward to Arsenal's Premier League and Champions League and whatever run they have next season. Obviously, got the World Cup coming up first in a couple of weeks, which is also really exciting. Let's see how that unfolds. But yeah, I think that's all for today at the Gooners Voice. If you're new around here, please hit that like button and also subscribe. We'd love to add you to this voice and united as one. So yeah, that's all for today. Peace.